Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
They know us. We know them. They're good. I think we're a pretty good basketball team, and we're going to lay it on the line. And you know, these kids, you know, I tell you guys that cover our team all the time that it's fun to be around them, that we're mentally healthy. I hope you see what I'm talking about. They won't give in to difficult moments, and they come in every day, whether it's a good day or bad day, and they're excited about the next opportunity.
Well, if the Gamecocks need any boost for tonight against Georgia mentally, all they need to know is that the number 13 seed Auburn has done it. They won their third game in 3 days just a few moments ago, knocking off LSU in overtime in a great basketball game here in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament in Nashville. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth here at Bridgestone Arena. Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, a State Man, Graham Pope, back at our studios in Columbia. We've got a lot of stuff to cover for you tonight, of course, with South Carolina's sensational win last night in the craziest 3.3 seconds that you'll ever see, really, in college basketball. We'll let you hear from Frank Martin and some of the players and let them break it down for you. I want to say one thing here before we get into that about this game that just finished. Of course, Kentucky took care of Florida in the first game of the day. A number of Kentucky fans stayed around, and you know what they were doing? This is sickening. They were rooting for Auburn, like they're scared of LSU. So they would rather play 13 seed with their semi-professional basketball team made up of the greatest talent that can be accumulated in America, and they're sitting here rooting for Auburn to LSU because they're scared of their team.
No, people always
LSU?
pull for the underdog.
They're rooting for the underdog.
That happens all
No, I know it, but this is Kentucky.
And by the way, what
I lost a lot of respect for Kentucky fans here in the arena.
They're really worried about the respect of Phil Kornbluth. And
I hope they go down on Broadway tonight, get into a big brawl and a honky-tonk, and get hit upside the head by a guitar. A Gibson guitar.
They won't get in a brawl because Kentucky brings bodyguards with them. You're not getting close to them.
Talking about the fans, not the team. But no, seriously, I understand rooting for the underdog, but you're Kentucky. You should be rooting for the best game to challenge your 32-0 run. That's a cowardly approach, if you ask me. No. I'm just giving you my opinion. Okay. Cowards. You should be looking to play LSU and not Auburn. But anyway, congratulations to Auburn and Bruce Pearl getting them fired up at Auburn with basketball. But, guys, last night, what can you say? The Gamecocks looked doomed, and then they got bailed out, and Ty Johnson delivered at the line.
Yeah, and it was a legitimate foul. I mean, sometimes the referees will swallow their whistle there, but it was just so demonstrative that they had to blow the whistle. And, boy, Dwayne Otis still sighing of relief.
Yeah, I mean, he was saved by his teammate, which is what Frank Martin said for his teammates to do, bail him out. Back in a moment.
It's unfortunate that it got to that. I called the timeout, and
All right, going to get to USC coach Frank Martin here in just a moment. As far as what has happened here so far today, as I mentioned, it's Auburn advancing with an overtime win, 73-70 over LSU. Heck of a game. Auburn's KT Harrell hit a shot at the buzzer, a three-pointer, to send it into overtime. He finished with 29 points, 15 of 18 from the line. For LSU, it was Keith Hornsby leading the way, 8 of 15 from the floor. He had 24 points. So Auburn, that's 3 in a row from the 13-hole bracket. They'll play Kentucky in the semifinals tomorrow. Kentucky fans, I guess they wanted no part of LSU. They're happy to see Auburn coming to face them tomorrow. Kentucky, they in the first game here, 64-59. And the Wildcats extend their record to 32-0, and they were led in scoring today by Aaron Harrison. He had 13, and Karl Anthony Towns had 13 to lead the Wildcats in scoring today. It was a close game until the second half, and what Kentucky will do to you, of course, is just wear you down, pulled away from the Gators. Gators shot only 33% in the second half, 9 of 27. And so Kentucky didn't shoot it all that well either for the game, 37.5%, but they were able to pull away in the second half and knock off Florida. ACC semifinals are coming up tonight in Greensboro. Those should be quite exciting. Because the ACC has moved everything up a day now. They've got their championship coming up tomorrow night. They've kind of taken over the slot of where the Big East used to do their thing at Madison Square Garden with the Saturday night championship. But last night, late, South Carolina, as you all know, managed to pull out the win over Ole Miss to get to the quarterfinals for another game against Georgia, a team they have beaten 2 times this year, trying to make it 3 in a row. Here is Frank Martin following last night's win, talking about the end and what he wanted done on the court and what he eventually got.
it's unfortunate that it got to that. I called the timeout, and I tried to execute a late game situation. Ty was too complimentary that I have not done a good job of practicing here as of late. We were trying to foul on the half-court line. And Dwayne, I thought he fouled. He's got to be more assertive with the foul. Because they are such a dangerous three-point shooting team with Summers, Moody, and Snoop White. I did not want them to shoot a three. But it is what it is. I mean, we got lost on the dribble. We tried to foul, didn't foul, got lost on the dribble handoff, and now I'm sitting there and I'm saying miss. Then I hear the whistle, and the ball goes in the net. And it was disheartening because I thought our kids had played so hard, so hard, and that I was gonna go home and regret the fact that situation I have not practiced it in probably been about a month or so, and so I learned a valuable lesson today that we got to cover every single moment of every play in that last minute of the game, so our kids are better prepared to manage that situation. And that's a play at the end. That's a play that we practice. So that's why Ty was saying it's, Limonis made a great read. Senderis made a great cut. Mike made a great cut. They both got depth on their cuts, so they got the floor to get flattened out, and then that gives their own space to we told them 3.3, you got a chance for possibly 3 dribbles and a shot, and that's exactly what he did.
Other questions for Coach? Raise your hand. We'll get a floor mic to you. Other questions for Coach? All right, let's take another one in front row.
Frank, you've been around a while, and you know how difficult it is to beat a good team 3 times in one season. You probably haven't thought about Georgia yet, but that is the matchup, and they're fully healthy this time. Just how difficult will it be to try to top them a 3rd time?
You play an NCAA team 3 times, you've got to be pretty darn good yourself to be able to have a chance to beat them once, let alone 3 times. And, at home, they were undermanned. At their place, they were undermanned. So were we both times. I think now we both have a full complement of players. So we're going to line up and we're going to play. I mean, they know us. We know them. They're good. I think we're a pretty good basketball team. And we're going to lay it on the line. And these kids, it's, I tell you guys that cover our team all the time that it's fun to be around them, that we're mentally healthy. I hope you see what I'm talking about. They won't give in to difficult moments, and they come in every day, whether it's a good day or bad day, and they're excited about the next opportunity. And I know that's a frame of mind they're going to have, and that's a frame of mind I'm going to have.
Question on the left side.
Coach, you were able to keep Moody to 3 of 15, Summers 3 of 10 from the field. What did you do defensively, and particularly with Senderis early on Moody to take him out?
Yeah, we switched our matchups from the last time we played. Senderis is our most disciplined perimeter defender off the ball, and Dwayne's our best on the ball defender. And so we wanted to try and keep Dwayne on Summers as much as we could. Summers is a freight train going to his right hand, and we made some adjustments from the first game to this game, and you see, and that's where these kids have been awesome, because it's not like we got to practice those adjustments. We spoke about them at film last night. We spoke about it. Actually, we gave them scouting report last night. Spoke about on film our adjustments after us coaches met last night, and we figured out what we wanted to do. Then we went to Vanderbilt's practice court and walked. We couldn't practice, just walk through things. And then we showed them film again at 3:30 in the afternoon to reinforce the adjustments. And they went out and handled it like champs. And that's why it's so fun. That's why that foul on Dwayne at the end is so disheartening, because that kid plays so hard. And he hounds their point guard the whole game. And there's a mistake made, and it was going to look like he was the GOAT. And that wouldn't have been fair. Wouldn't have been fair for somebody to have played as well, to lead us in scoring, hound their point guard the way he did, and the game end on that mistake. It would have been unfortunate, but our team was rock solid. And we tried to trap a little bit, which I'm not a big fan of, but we did, and I thought it worked, and we turned them over. That was important to us.
Question on the right side.
You ever been in a game that finished on possessions with fouls on 2 3-point shots, one that resulted in a 4-point play, the other 3 free throws, and all made? And how would you best sum up the way this game ended?
It's the beauty of college basketball. It's just Summers, who hadn't made a 3 all night, jumps up and does what seniors do. And our guys didn't pout, didn't whine. Were they a little dejected? Yes, of course. When you're up the whole game and your first deficit is with 2 seconds to go in the game, you're going to be a little dejected. But like I said, be able to come back out and execute, and maybe I don't know if it was a foul or not. I got no idea. It looked like a foul to me. But give Tyrone credit. That's why you have seniors. No surprise. Senior for them, senior for us, making those plays at the end of the game. But no, Phil, I've been in games that came down to a foul, never on back-to-back fouls like that.
It was a strange finish. I mean, when Dwayne Notice fouled the shooter, he makes the shot, makes the free throw. You think, okay, nice try, Gamecocks. It's all over. And, really, it should have been. The Ole Miss player had no business being near Ty Johnson as he was driving down the court. Just let him throw up the prayer and see if it's answered. All right, coming up, more from the Gamecocks and their win last night. And they, it was the funny thing about South Carolina here through two games, they have dominated their two opponents. The Gamecocks have led, I've added up the numbers, the 80 minutes that they have played, they have led all but about 2.5 minutes. They have had the lead in those two games. Of course, last night, Ole Miss, when they went to the zone, the Gamecocks had a lot of problems against the zone. They didn't move the ball well. Of course, they couldn't make shots. Both teams went through long stretches of horrendous basketball in terms of shooting. And Ole Miss, you could tell that they were a little bit they weren't very focused, it appeared. They turned the ball over. A team that averaged 11 turnovers per game coming in had 17. Early in the second half, they were at 17 turnovers, finished with 21. So I think maybe South Carolina, and you wonder if this helps them tonight, guys. Yes, they've played a couple of games, extended a lot of energy, but they're used to the surroundings. They've got the momentum. They're not going to be jump-starting. We're just going to be jump-starting, having to wait around all this week to get a chance to play. They're the last team. Georgia will be the last team to make a first appearance in the tournament, and they've got a couple of guys still dealing with injuries, including Kenny Gaines and Juwan Parker. Both are apparently game-time decisions due to injuries.
Well, the interesting thing, Corn, is, one other time, Nashville has been good to South Carolina, of course, when they went to the championship game against Florida. So apparently in tournament action, South Carolina likes Nashville. But I think the key to South Carolina right now, Corn, making up for the fact that they were out-rebounded again, is the fact that they've turned the first two opponents over. In the teens and the 20s. I think Ole Miss ended up with 21 turnovers last night. So that's been a key. Their lack of rebounding has been balanced by turning the ball over. And now I guess we see that their physical backcourt from a stature standpoint, Dwayne Notice is quick, but he's built like a safety. And then you got Thornwell with his height. They're just physically dominating defensively against most of the backcourts that they're guarding right now.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They have really put the clamps down on people defensively. I think one guy who really has to kind of relax a little bit more and play to a higher standard is Akavicius. Even though he got 7 boards last night, K-Mac, he still looked a bit robotic out there. There are times this season he's looked fluid and athletic, but the 2 games here he looks pretty stiff, and maybe he's just caught up in the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's never going to wow you. You just hope that he plays consistently. And their biggest wins, he's been a big part of those, so they need him to play well inside. But it's nice to see Thornwell. He looks like he's got a little bit of his swagger back, a step back. Maybe his knees feeling a little bit better that he's been dealing with all season long. But he's looked like the Sendarius Thornwell of his freshman year.
Again, artificial noisemakers are not permitted at the SEC men's basketball tournament.
Kentucky is not fair to pull for
The
them at all.
Southeastern Conference also
Hey, you should be pulling the best team that you can play. Cowards, run scared.
Violators may be asked to leave the arena. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, this reminder, banners and flags may not obstruct the view of any fan and may not be on the facade of the Bridgestone Arena. Also, any banners or flags supported by poles or tape are strictly prohibited. We appreciate your support. If you or someone else around you is in need of immediate medical attention, please notify the nearest usher or policeman.
Not good, not smart.
For assistance. Please do not leave your seat. And this final reminder that throwing objects onto the blade floor is strictly prohibited. Violators will be asked to leave. Your cooperation is appreciated. Thank you, and have a great evening tonight. Here at the SEC men's basketball.
Okay, we'll do the. We'll have some time to talk, and I got to mute myself.
Ty, you're coming down, with 3.3 seconds left. What was your home?
And we continue our coverage here of the SEC tournament at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville coming up. It's the third game of the day. It's going to be Tennessee against Arkansas. And then the wrap night, it's going to be South Carolina and Georgia. Can the Gamecocks do what Auburn did just a little while ago, win 3 straight games here in Nashville and get to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon? That would be a little mind-boggling. You've already got the 13 seed there. Can the 11 seed get there as well? You know, South Carolina's already beaten Georgia twice this year, and they did it by clamping down defensively on the Bulldogs in both games. They held Georgia to 22% shooting in Columbia. That was just a terrible outing for Georgia. Now, they were playing without Marcus Thornton, their best player, one of their best players. And then in Athens, the Gamecocks held Georgia to 37% shooting, but the Gamecocks hit 9 threes that night in Athens. That was the night that they announced the suspension of the 2 players, Henry and Shepard. So the Gamecocks themselves were a little shorthanded that night. Georgia was also missing another player that night, their good outside shooting guard. So neither team has really had their full complement of players in their 2 games against one another this year. Now, if you're South Carolina guys, you're thinking, man, you know, we've beaten these guys twice. We've kind of got a little bit of a formula here. Just do what we do. And Georgia's like, we beat these guys 5 times in a row. Now we've lost 2 in a row to them. We've got most of our guys back. We'll see what happens with the 2 guys who are a little bit dinged up. And it will be a game-time decision. But, you know, they're thinking fresh legs and had all this time to get ready, and it should be their time. I don't know. I don't know which side karma's going to be on here tonight, but South Carolina's got to feel like they can beat Georgia and should come out and play with a lot of confidence and follow the game plans that they had those first 2 games.
The Gamecocks have their ace in the hole, their good luck charm, Darren Horn.
He'll be on the sideline.
He's the guy. I mean, who would have thought that if Darren Horn was just in the wrong place? He had to move closer to center court, put a microphone in front of him. He's perfect for the Gamecocks now.
And considering his disdain for the media while he was in Columbia, it's a little funny seeing how he's behind the mic now when things are going well for the Gamecocks. Simply coincidental, of course, but maybe he is the good luck charm. Maybe it's something else. Who knows? The Gamecocks are just playing good, hard-nosed basketball right now, and maybe the tyranny that it is playing under Frank Martin is paying off for them this time of the year. They are, what is it that Dabo likes to say? Steel cutting steel or something like that?
Iron sharpening iron.
Yeah. Iron sharpening iron, whatever. He's got a million of them. Maybe it's paying off for the Gamecocks in that, you know, this long season and this tough coaching and his continuing to press them and push them paying off now with these tough wins in the tournament.
No, well, I will say this. As I said after the Arkansas game, I said the team has to keep working because when things look its darkest, that something is good going to happen around the road. And when they couldn't finish that Arkansas game, and there's Ty Johnson, can't get back in the game because both his legs are cramped up, and they're there like in a boxing corner with the standing 8 count trying to rub the cramps out of his legs. Who wins hits the free throws to send them into the quarterfinal round? Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
It's incredible how things can turn around at a moment's notice in any kind of sport, and that just shows it again, and that shows youngsters out there watching games that, look, don't hang your head because you'll miss the next good thing around the corner.
Yeah, keep playing.
And Ty didn't hit a shot from the floor last night, but he did hit the 3 free throws when they needed it. Here is Ty and Michael Carrera. They were brought to the room to meet with the media after the Gamecocks win last night.
Ty, you're coming down, with 3.3 seconds left. What was your whole mentality once you pulled up for the shot, and then once you got fouled and went to the free throw line?
My job was to just try to get the ball off, and I saw that it was about 1.3 seconds on the shot clock, and I saw him coming in hard, and I just jumped up, and he fouled me. And my thing was knock these 2 free throws down and ice the game. My teammates and my coaches, talked to me all year. Today wasn't one of my best games, but at the end of the day, that's why I have teammates and coaches to pick me up. And inside a moment like that, coach told me, make these free throws and pick Dwayne up. And that was my job, like just ice the free throws, and we won a game.
Other questions for either student athlete? Raise your hand. Okay, take it again.
Mike, you had a chance to kind of ice the game with 2 free throws. You and Lamo both. You guys couldn't get it done. Just was it tired legs, the gravity of the situation? Just what was going on there?
It just the ball didn't get in. It's just how the game it is. Sometimes the ball get in, and sometimes it don't. So that's how it is.
Other questions for either student athlete? Raise your hand. Go ahead.
For both of you, have any of you guys been involved in a game like that where you're down a point with 3.3 to go and everybody's leaving, and then you somehow win?
Tyrone, you want to take that?
Inside high school, I remember we played Arlington Country Day at Montrose, and it was the same situation like that. We was down, I believe, 1 with 3 seconds left, and I got the ball and drove the length of the court, and he fouled me. And it was the same situation. It was just, you make 2 free throws, you win a game. If you make 1, obviously overtime. If you miss, we lose the game. And my same momentum and same pressure on me, but I was just saying to myself, just make these 2 free throws so we can win the game and go home. And today, it was kind of the same situation. For myself, like I'm a senior, so if I wanted to keep playing, obviously we live to fight another day tomorrow, and my job was to make them free throws, and I just delivered, and we won the game.
Same for Michael.
I think it was a lot of games. We got Arlington Country Day, and we got Oak Hill, where we went to like 3 overtimes. So, me and Ty been through all the kind of games, and we know what to do. We make sure to calm down and do our job. Everything what coach told us to do, we were gonna do it. So that's how we won the game.
Question on the far right.
Yeah, Ty and Michael, can you go back to that last huddle before the last possession, and what did Frank say to you guys? What was were the guys down? Was there a feeling of defeatism, or was there a feeling of optimism?
Ty?
There was no feeling of being down. That's why we practice these moments with 3 seconds on the clock, 5 seconds on the clock, and coach draw up the best play to give us the chance to win. And he called up a great play where Sindarius was going to come over, then like Dwayne would come over, but Ole Miss did a good job with taking those guys away, and I was free. And he told me, if you get a good shot, take it. And that's why you got to give credit to Coach Martin, because he put us in these situations every day. Like, we practice these situations, and I was fouled, and I made these 2 free throws, iced the game, and we live to fight another day tomorrow.
In that huddle, I think we have a lot of hope. There was a lot of hope in the huddle, and we just fought. We've been fighting for the past 6 games, and that's what we do. We fighters, man. We warriors.
All right, question down front.
For both players, when's the last time you played 3 games in 3 nights, and what do you think your legs are going to be like tomorrow?
Ty?
Oh, you got to go back to AAU days. I remember playing in the Peach Jam, and we had to play, like all the way up to the championship, and it was about 4 games in a row. But we can't look at it like, oh, we're tired. We got to live to fight another day, and tomorrow is another opportunity for us to come out and play. We're going to rest. We're going to do the things that we need to do, hydrate, take care of our bodies, get good sleep, and we'll be ready tomorrow to come out and play.
Michael?
All right, there you go. Some Gamecock players talking to the media last night. We'll hear some comments from Dwayne Notice coming up here as well in just a little bit. But you got to like their focus. You got to like their resolve, and there's self-belief right now, and that's what winning will do for you. They had a pretty decent finish to the regular season, and it's carried over here once again into SEC tournament play. We'll bring you some Dwayne Notice comments in a moment. All right, back we are on Sports Talk. By the way, Clemson, Notre Dame rained out tonight. USC, Kentucky still on over at Carolina Stadium. 7 o'clock first pitch there. Some other basketball from today. Middle Tennessee beat UTEP in the Conference USA tournament, 53-50. VCU over Richmond, Atlantic 10, 70-67. It was Temple defeating Memphis, 80-75 in the AAC. Purdue over Penn State, 64-59, the Big Ten. SMU downs East Carolina, 74-68 in the AAC. In the Atlantic 10, Davidson edges LaSalle, 67-66. Big Ten, Wisconsin 71, Michigan 60. And I think we're up to date on the final scores. Now, one more Gamecock to hear from last night. The man in the middle of it all, Dwayne Notice. You know what happened? And I had a chance to talk to him all about it after the game last night.
You made the dive at him. You tried to disrupt his shot and take it from there. What happened on that play?
Initially, the game plan was for me to kind of foul near the 10-second line, the half-court line, Jarvis Summers, and I thought I hacked him, but the ref missed it. And by that time, it was too fast. I didn't want to grab him and do something stupid and get an intentional foul. He handed it off to Moody. Me and my teammates ran to him. I made a poor decision and left Jarvis open. Once I saw him get the ball, I sprinted as hard as I could. But I think I sprinted so hard that I wasn't able to stop. And he kicks his legs out when he shoots, and I was unable to kind of stop it. I made a bonehead play, but we had a senior in Ty Johnson to pick us up.
Absolutely. What was your feeling after you saw his shot, talking about Summers, his shot go down, and you knew he was going to get a chance to put them on top?
I was praying that he missed. Like, the whole time I was just praying to God that he missed. And I felt like a rush of emotions. I was really sad that I let my team down and made a bonehead play. And, that's a great thing about March Madness, things like this happen.
Absolutely. What was the huddle like for you guys after you're now down one? You still have a chance to pull something out. Was your mind into what Frank was saying? Were you able to take your mind off that play and get focused on the next play?
Yeah, I just kind of, figured out the next play because, there was 3.3 seconds left on the clock, so we still had time. And, our coach was a great coach. He dropped great plays, and he was able to stay positive throughout the timeout and tell us what to do, what kind of situation, if he missed a free throw or if he made it. And he made it, and we were able to kind of, execute what he wanted us to do.
How'd you feel with Ty at the line? Did you have confidence in him?
I definitely had confidence in him because, we shoot and practice free throws every day. So he's one of the better free throw shooters on the team percentage-wise. And, I just, know he is. So I was just praying for him to make it. I was praying for him not to get a violation. I was praying for him to just make it. I was praying. I begged him to make it.
Have you ever been in a game that ended in a more crazy fashion than this one?
No, I haven't. Definitely not.
You guys, for a while there, it appeared you had this game under control, but then their zone defense seemed to really give you trouble finding open looks and then making shots.
Yeah, they're very long. I think that's one of the reasons why they disrupt their opponents so much is because they're very long. They have, active bigs, so they're able to kind of play different types of zones, a variety of them, and it kind of boggled us a bit. I personally have 5 turnovers, which is, a poor part of my decision making, but as a team, we turn the ball over too much.
But you force them into like 20 turnovers, and defensively, you guys never let up the entire game.
Yeah, that's our calling card. Even from last year, the kind of team that we have. He instills defense in us, and that's what we try to do throughout the majority part of the game.
How can you guys beat Georgia for a third time?
We just got to treat it like it's the first time we playing them. We're hungry. I know me personally, I have like a personal vendetta against them just because last year they beat us bad twice. So I never forget that feeling every time I played them. And as a team, we're going to recover and do the things we got to do to make sure we get this win tomorrow.
Do you think as a team you'll have enough gas in the tank to rev it up one more time?
Yeah, because it's do or die, and we're really hungry. We want to play in the postseason. We've been through this before. We played 3 games last year in the SEC tournament. We shocked the world then, and we just want to, keep improving steadily.
There you go. That's our Molson Beer player of the game from last night. Little reference to Canada there for those of you who aren't aware of what Molson Beer is, and the fact that Dwayne is from
Molson Golden.
Oh, you sound like you know a lot about it, bro.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my drinking days, you could line up 10 different beers. I'd take a sip of each one of them. I can tell you which brand it was.
Wow. Are those days over, or they
Yes.
continue?
Yes, those days ended about 30 years ago.
So we'll transition to K-Mac. I know his drinking days aren't over. In fact, probably
Far from it. I'm kind of in my prime in terms of my drinking days.
Wait a minute now. This will be your first St. Patrick's Day on one kidney. How are you going to handle that?
I mean, the same way you handle any St. Patrick's Day. Has nothing to do. Kidney function has nothing to do with beer drinking ability.
I thought so. I thought the kidney served as like a filter. Oh, that's the liver. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the bladder.
Science and medicine, not corn strong suit.
We'll be back to let the national anthem interfere with recruiting. All right, before they roll out Old Glory, let's do the recruiting report. Linebacker Datavius Wilson from Hartsville was at Clemson's recent junior day. The weekend before that, he was at Wake Forest, and he picked up an offer from Marshall this week to go along with a previous one from Appalachian State. He had good conversations with Clemson defensive coordinator Brent Venables, and he liked what he saw at Clemson. Venables said, keep in touch, keep working hard. They want him to come to the spring game and to spring practices. He's getting mail from USC, plans to attend a camp there this summer, but was not invited to their upcoming junior day. Also hearing from East Carolina, the Citadel, and Georgia Southern, 158 tackles last year. Defensive back Simeon Gatling of Greensboro does plan to attend USC's upcoming junior day with his cousin, running back C.J. Freeman. No offer yet from the Gamecocks, but he's hoping to land one maybe at the junior day. Really likes USC a lot, keeping in touch with Sean Elliott. He communicated with him both on Twitter and on the phone. He visited LSU last month, likes the Tigers a lot, going to Vanderbilt March 21st. Went to games last year at Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia Southern, Duke, Virginia Tech, and East Carolina. LSU and Navy are his two offers at this point, with USC, Vandy, NC State, and North Carolina showing interest. He had 60 tackles and forced 4 fumbles last year. Wide receiver Austin Mack of Fort Wayne, Indiana, has a USC offer and several others. He had planned to come into USC tomorrow for an unofficial visit. He has some family in the state, but apparently that visit has been postponed until later on this spring. And linebacker C.J. Greenlee from Seneca reports that he picked up an offer from South Carolina State. There you go with recruiting. Check it out on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting to go right to our info. You know, I was watching Kentucky, Florida on television earlier today from my humble abode here in Nashville, and I was stunned, and I think Billy Donovan was too, that allowing the reporterette on the sideline to interview the coaches in game coming out of timeouts. Am I correct about that? Is that a regular procedure?
They've done that before. They've done the
I
last.
haven't seen that in SEC games, interviewing them during the. I'm talking about not going into halftime and coming out. I'm talking about during the game, during a timeout.
Yeah.
Going over interviewing
this
kids.
is what came back.
When are you going to get past the whole reporterette thing? I mean, do you like just being a chauvinist? Is that like your thing?
What? Are they not reporterettes?
They're
No, they're
reporters.
reporters.
It identifies them as a female version of a reporter.
Don't think there is such a term as reporterette.
No.
I Googled it.
Are female police officers police officerettes?
Policeettes.
Female senator.
It could be.
Is that how it works in life? Is that how things work in your 1950s head?
And a female cigar is a cigarette?
That works for me, too. Hey, we beat the national anthem on recruiting tonight. They haven't done it yet. That'll be coming up during our break. We'll be back. Lee Klein will be along, and Monty Dutton will have our full Montiette on NASCAR, where they have a female driver. She's a driverette. Back in a moment.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Hour number 2 of Sports Talk. On this Friday night, heading into tournament weekend here at the SEC, we've got Arkansas and Tennessee about to tip it off. And good turnout of Arkansas fans for the most part. In Tennessee, of course, they were here last night as well. And they've got not such a great representation considering we're playing in the state of Tennessee. I guess they're not all caught up in their basketball team just yet. Been kind of an up-and-down year for the Tennessee basketball team. Arkansas fans very excited about their team, hoping to enhance their seeding in the NCAA tournament with a good performance here at the SEC tournament. Still to come, South Carolina and Georgia, last game. We have gotten just a couple of minutes. Lee Klein, our basketball ambassador, joining us here on Sports Talk, and then Monty Dutton, Full Monty on NASCAR coming up in just a little bit as well. I want to mention a couple things. Citadel football player Deshaun Daniels upgraded to fair and moved out of intensive in Charleston at MUSC. Officials and his father telling the Post and Courier. Of course, you know, he collapsed at the end of a practice on Tuesday, had emergency brain surgery, and father had said the doctors believe a vein became detached in his head, causing bleeding in the brain, but it sounds like he's making a quick recovery. Former Clemson quarterback, now Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly, has met the community service and other conditions of a plea agreement, and that agreement reached after he was arrested for fighting with bouncers outside a Buffalo nightclub. This was agreed to by a judge who said that Kelly's done everything he was required to do, so the case is over, and he's moving on to football. And Kelly was arrested back on December 21st, days after signing with Ole Miss. Under the plea agreement, he admitted to a charge of disorderly conduct, agreed to perform 50 hours of community service. Also, he'll undergo drug and alcohol evaluation. And apparently he's done all of that, wrote an apology to the Buffalo Police Department, whose officers charged him with more serious counts of resisting arrest and menacing after, according to a police report, he traded punchers with bouncers in an early morning altercation. So anyway, sounds like he's got it behind him. He's in Haiti, Kelly is, on a volunteer humanitarian mission with Ole Miss coach Hugh Freeze. This is not related to the court cases, lawyers say. All right, so good for Chad Kelly. Maybe he moves on and has himself a nice career next couple of years at Ole Miss. And bracketology, taking a look at that. Despite their loss last night, Ole Miss still in the tournament, according to Joe Lenard, part of the last 4 in. No significant movement of note that I can see today. Coastal still a 15 seed to play Arizona. That's where he's had them before. And no real change with Wofford either that I can see. A 12 seed to play Arkansas in Jacksonville. Lee Klein coming up. right, Arkansas, boy, they are calling out the Hogs right now. It is 13-0, about 4 minutes into the game here against Tennessee. Arkansas getting anything and everything that it wants right now against Tennessee, shooting 100% from the floor, 5 of 5, 3 of 3 from three-point range. Porter's got 5, Madden's got a 3, Qualls has got a 3. And Tennessee's got a big fat goose egg on the board right now. They're 0 for 4 from the floor. How about ACC K-Mac? What happened over there in Greensboro?
7-1, North Carolina on top of Virginia with 16.5 minutes to play in the first half.
South Carolina underway against Kentucky in baseball. This could be a prelude to a South Carolina-Kentucky SEC basketball tournament championship game on Sunday afternoon. What do you think? Wouldn't that be pretty cool to have the basketball teams and the baseball team playing at the same time?
Yeah, but slim and none, because even if they get past Georgia, as I said before, it starts to turn into a 15-round fight. And just let's face it, if Arkansas goes on and wins this game, first thing they're going to do is they're going to say, yeah, those guys have played 3 straight night games. Now they come in late afternoon. Let's see how rubbery their legs are. They're going to try to run them out of the arena to wear them down. It's a weird matchup because that's what they're going to do. That's what they're trying to do to Tennessee, apparently, in the first half.
They're playing in Bridgestone Arena, all right? They got plenty of rubber in Bridgestone Arena, Bridgestone tires. They have plenty of rubber in those legs. Guarantee if they get by tonight, they'll come out and give Arkansas a heck of an effort. But, Arkansas will press them from the moment they walk off the bus. It'd be very difficult. Can't put the cart ahead of the horse here. Got to take care of business tonight. Yeah. Over at Carolina Stadium, Kentucky's out to a 1-0 lead. Couple of boots in the first error by Jordan Gore, opening the door for Kentucky. Yeah, to get a run on the board. So 1-0 Kentucky leading South Carolina. Clemson rained out. We have not hooked up with Lee Klein at this moment, so we will continue with other stuff. In fact, we'll open up the phone line at 800-956-7266. Take some calls for a little while if you'd like to join us and talk about certainly South Carolina and what they've done here at the SEC tournament thus far. 800-956-7266, the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, @SportsTalkSC. In fact, K-Mac, our Twitterologist tell us about
what's a Twitter. What's a Twitterologist? What is it? Is that all
Twitterologist.
One word? Yeah, what's that?
It's a Twitterologist with female characteristics.
Oh, I thought it was a Twitterologist that just had dinner.
I feel like did you just go back to 8th grade or something? What's going on with you tonight? I think Nashville's are you not sleeping? What's happening with you?
I'm sleeping great.
I mean, good. I know these games are running late.
When you hang out with Dirk Bentley and Tim McGraw and guys like that, you get a little goofy with them.
You guys were up late drinking a little bit of the Black Label.
Toby Keith going to his favorite bar.
What's his favorite bar?
I love this bar. It's a Toby Keith bar.
No, the Toby Keith bar.
Right there on Broadway.
Right there on Broadway. How about that?
So tell me, what are people talking about on Twitter, especially as it pertains to the USC run of success here in Nashville?
Let's see what people are saying on Twitter. Well, a lot of people think that you were in the tank for Ole Miss last night and upset that the Gamecocks won.
Why would they say that?
That's just what people think. And then you weren't giving USC any credit for Ole Miss's struggles. You were just saying Ole Miss couldn't play any worse.
Wow.
Not saying that the Gamecocks were playing good defense. A lot of people on Twitter seem to just think that you were just a complete jerk.
That is far from the truth.
A jerk.
That is just so
definitely a foul. When you ask can I honestly, you ask if it was a foul or not, and people said I don't know how any people didn't know how anybody could honestly think that it wasn't a foul, and they had to send you pictures.
Hang on a second. Now, I'm not sitting down on press row. I'm staying upstairs because that's where we're broadcasting from, and so I'm far removed from the court. Now, that particular play, the action was away from me. All I could see was Johnson's back. I could see the Ole Miss defender, White, running alongside of him. And then when I got home, I looked at the video replay from the SEC network coverage, and it was the same shot. All you saw was Johnson motoring down the court, White running along with him. I couldn't see where White's arm was. That's why I said, did it look like a foul to you folks? I couldn't tell from the video. It didn't look like much to me. That's how I put it. I said after watching the replay, it didn't look like much to me. Now, some astute listeners and followers sent me a picture, and it showed White's hand on Johnson's arm, and clearly it was a foul. But I couldn't see that from the video.
Well, two things got me. I thought it was a foul, but then again, even though we don't like to say it, there's a certain foul that's called during the first 49 minutes, first 39 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, and calls where whistles are swallowed toward the end of the game. So to me, it was a foul, but to me, I've seen plays like that where the referee just waves his arm. Well, game over.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're South Carolina, you're thankful that didn't happen. And there's also referees who wouldn't call the foul on notice as he was diving past Summers as he took that shot. So in this case, the officials were very active. They weren't going to let anything slide. That's why when Thornwell defended the last second heave by Ole Miss, I thought he was a little bit too close for comfort there because but I think in the official record, I believe they waved that last shot off. 0.7, it's got to be kind of a catch and dunk sort of thing. I don't think they gave him credit for attempting a shot there at the very end. Portis with the steal and the slam-a-roo. It's now, does that make it 18-3? Yes, 18-3. Jumping to the phones we go here on Sports Talk from Nashville. It's Ed in Charleston. All right, sir. Hey, Ed, welcome to Sports Talk tonight. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great after that game this afternoon. I'm a big Blue fan. Went to Kentucky. Gotta love them.
Yes. Yep. They turned it on in the second half, did what they like to do, wear you down. You're crazy. Any team that tries to drive in on Kentucky, it's just a waste of time. I would just stand outside and take my chances with threes versus trying to drive in and attempt to get those big men in any kind of foul trouble. They're just going to block everything you throw up inside.
Yeah, it's amazing. Those little twin brothers, they look so little compared to the rest of those guys, but they're 6'5", That's a pretty good size player.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ed, I got to tell you, I don't know if you heard the beginning of the show. I got to tell you, I was disappointed in your Kentucky brethren here because, they're rooting for Auburn to beat LSU, which Auburn did. I mean, come on. You being a Kentucky fan, didn't you want to play LSU tomorrow, take on the best available opponents?
Yeah, I don't know the thing behind whether they're rooting for the underdog or what, but I don't really think it matters who we play. I hope till we get out of this thing, it's sort of a sure thing. When we start playing, the big boys, Wisconsin and Virginia and whatever, they're sort of unknown, but I think they'll manage to put a team together. Because, like Booker, he was Mr. Indiana. He's probably the freshman of the year, and he's on the bench, with bunches of guys. He could double team those guys, play five and pull them out and put another five in. It's incredible how much talent he's got.
Yeah. Nobody's questioning the amount of talent and the high level of talent they have at Kentucky. That's why I'm saying it's almost unfair. Though, down the road as the NCAA tournament plays its way out, I would like to see, Wisconsin against Kentucky. That would be an interesting matchup. The big guy from Wisconsin, how would he, could he drag those big guys outside to defend him on the perimeter where he likes to shoot? Or how about Okafor from Duke? How would Okafor fend inside against those Kentucky guys? That'd be an interesting matchup as well. We'll continue. 800-956-7266. Back in a moment. Well, Tennessee showing a little bit of fight. Got it down to 10, 18-8, 12 minutes to go here in the first half at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And Portis is out, having himself quite a game, though, but he's resting right now. 10 points, 4 of 4 from the floor for Portis, so he's off to a terrific start. And Arkansas has cooled off a little bit, and they're 54% after hitting, what was it, their first 4 or 5 shots. So it's now 20-8. Meantime, Tar Heels are getting it together. Remember when everybody was crying over losing twice to Duke and double-digit losses in the regular season? And now they got Virginia on their heels, guys.
14-6 with 11:22 to play in the first half.
And our buddy Mike Morgan said, North Carolina, they're soft. They're soft.
Well, there's still a lot of time in this one. And Virginia, they can lock you up. And they start out slow. They were playing Syracuse a few weeks ago. They had 2 points with about 3 minutes left in the half, and they ended up winning that one by 10 or 15 when it was all said and done.
But I like the Tar Heels start because, let's face it, if it's flipped and it's 14-6, being down 14-6 to Virginia is like being down 28-6 because they'll milk a lead on you. So it's important for you to get a lead on them before they start to crank it up.
All right, coming up, Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR, our Friday night NASCAR chats, and we'll catch up with him. They're out in Phoenix this weekend as they continue the West Coast swing on the NASCAR circuit, and get the latest from him and latest on qualifying. We'll give you that here coming up a little bit later on when Monty joins us. Baseball USC trailing Kentucky. Top of the second. It's 1-0. Will Crow on the mound for the Gamecocks today. The Valspar Championship out in Florida, down in Florida, Palm Harbor, Florida. And Jonathan Byrd had a hole-in-one today. Former Clemson star holed out on the 15th hole. The leader right now, Brendan DeYoung, he's 6 under after a 69. Jordan Spieth is at 5 under along with Henrik Stenson, Ryan Moore, Derek Ernst, and Kevin Streelman. They are all at -5. Lucas Glover, a 69, back-to-back 69s for him. Leaves him at 4 under par. And talked about Jonathan, had that hole-in-one. Let's see what that did for his overall score. So I scrolled down the list here. Must have had a pretty tough day otherwise because, shot 70 with a hole-in-one, and looks like he missed the cut. Had a hole-in-one. How do you feel about that as a golfer? You have a hole-in-one, but you missed the cut. I guess you don't make any money unless somebody had a bet going. I guess Bill McGirt missed the cut as well, had a 75 today. Anybody else with local connections? Checking. I think that's pretty much it. So, by the way, Tiger announced today he will not be playing in the Arnold Palmer tournament coming up, and he said he hopes to be ready for the Masters. So he continues to work on his game and his health, trying to get ready for Augusta. Hit a break. Back in a moment. All right, things are tightening up considerably here in Nashville, Tennessee. Getting back into it, 8:59 to play in the half. It's a 2013 Arkansas lead. And in Greensboro, guys, things have tightened up as well between the Heels and the Cavs.
It's tightened up, but North Carolina on a mini four-point run. So now that 2-point lead is now back up to 7 for the Tar Heels. By the way, I will throw this comment in. And y'all excuse me for being just blatantly angry, but they are allowing North Carolina to ride backs tonight. They are climbing over backs, no whistles. Be interesting to see how this game is played. Virginia, welcome back to Tobacco Road.
Yeah. All right, it is time to talk a little NASCAR here on Sports Talk as we do Friday nights around a NASCAR weekend there in Phoenix as they continue the so-called West Coast part of the early schedule. We welcome in Monty Dutton from MontyDutton.com, the full Monty on NASCAR, here with us on Sports Talk. Qualifying not yet underway out in Phoenix. That'll be a little bit later on tonight on Fox Sports 2. Monty, first of all, good to have you with us. Your thoughts about what happened in Las Vegas last week, some things that caught your eye and your attention.
Well, I think that the theme of the season to date really is that when you change things, it shouldn't surprise anyone that the smartest people in the sport are the ones that figure it out first. I don't think the racing has been too good in the last 2 weeks. And last week, Harvick, who's one of those guys, and Jimmy Johnson fell by the wayside. Joey Logano fell by the wayside. They dominated various parts of the race. So I think it's also true that whenever that happens, other people do catch up. And so I think that's what you watch the races now, to sort of observe and see some signs that maybe some of the others who are within range but a little bit off come to the front as well.
Well, Harvick certainly had a terrific car last week, and he'd never won at Las Vegas. It was something that was on his bucket list, being a guy that raced out there a lot younger in his during the younger part of his career. And, of course, he followed that, or he preceded that with 2 very strong showings in the first 2 races. So defending the championship thus far does not seem like it's going to be much of a problem for him. It's going to be right there come November with a chance to get another big trophy.
Well, his hot streak that won in the championship has continued right on because he has finished first or second in 6 consecutive races. He has 3 firsts and 3 seconds. And his finishes so far this year are 2, 2, and 1. So the new rules haven't bothered him. Not only that, but he's now going to his best track because he's the all-time winner at Phoenix with 6 victories. And I can't remember whether it's 3 out of 4 or 4 of the last 5, but he won the most recent race there. So it seems like everything goes his way, but there's an ebb and flow, and this too will pass.
Yeah. Talking with Monty Dutton, the full Monty, here on Sports Talk. You talk about ebbing and flowing. When is Jeff Gordon going to ebb, I guess? I guess he's been flowing here of late, falling out of races, getting into trouble.
I can't remember I can't get it straight. I know that they're the opposite, but I don't know which is which.
Yeah. When do you expect him to ebb again?
Well, I think he's running. I think the concern would be if he wasn't running well. I think that, he's probably I don't think it's time to bury him yet. I think that he just if he finishes in the top 5 the next 2 weeks and wins a race soon, all this will go away. Because the thing about it is that Kurt Busch hasn't raced and he could make the chase. Because if you win a race and you finish in the top 30 in the points, not to mention the fact that there are 16 in the chase. No one who gets up to a bad start should worry too much. If this were 1996, right now Jeff Gordon would already be playing catch-up. It would be like, wow, we got no chance, let's just try to win races. But it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Speaking of Busch, Kurt Busch, and the way that situation was handled here by NASCAR this week, reinstating him, and of course saying that he can qualify for the chase. He can simply win a race, and or he'll be, he can do it through the points process, whatever the case may be. He's he's got a chance now to do that. What do you think of how NASCAR handled that situation after the news came down last week that they weren't prosecuting him again with those charges that had been made against him?
Well, it's my understanding that at least the official line is that NASCAR reinstated him, that they were sort of waiting on the evaluation of a professional who advised them that he was fit to race. And, I guess basically said he wasn't crazy as a loon. But I mean, I have kind of mixed feelings about that because, obviously in our society, issues of domestic violence are taken very seriously, as they always should have been. But at the same time, I don't care what case you cite. Who ever heard of one like this? I think that the reason Kurt Busch got himself in trouble is that if he really was going with a woman that he considered to be a paid assassin, this is a man who likes to walk on the wild side. It's so difficult to figure out what's the truth and what isn't.
Well, yeah, you think on the track and his behavior in and out of the garage area relating to other drivers and all that, do you think he's going to reel that in? Will he tame himself somewhat in terms of his temper with things that happen on and off the racetrack?
Listen, my whole career covering NASCAR, or at least a part of it since he came along, which is around 2000, I've always chortled merrily every time that after 2 weeks you hear these stories about the new Kurt Busch, because it's really pretty simple with Kurt. Kurt actually, to defend him, most of the time he's a really good guy. He's done a lot of things that were very selfless. The trouble with Kurt is that when things don't go his way and he faces adversity, the brat comes out. And it comes out when somebody sticks a microphone in front of him. It comes out it comes out when he gets stopped by the cops, and instead of saying yes sir, no sir, he says, apparently you don't know who you're dealing with. That never works well. And I think that the key with Kurt, he's a wonderful, gracious champion when things are going his way. The trouble with Kurt is that when things don't go his way, and I don't know that that'll ever completely change. He may just get someone nearby to tackle him every time he's about to, go that way. But I don't think that may ever change because I've been waiting so long.
Yeah. Couldn't you say the same thing about his brother?
They are literally and figuratively peas from the same pod.
All right. So you like Harvick in the field this weekend?
You can't not like him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised
wins there, and
I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Denny Hamlin moved up. The guy who won a race at Phoenix that Harvick didn't win recently was Carl Edwards. He's off to an uneven start too. Doesn't look like it's any different so far for Carl than new to and old, but it's early. And so Denny Hamlin's a really good driver on flat tracks. And so I don't expect Harvick to lead every lap. And it'll be interesting to see if somebody steps up. There are other people that can win the race.
Monty, as always, we thank you for your NASCAR insight. You can read Monty's stuff on the internet. His blog is Monty, that's M-O-N-T-E, Dutton, D-U-T-T-O-N, MontyDutton.com. And, of course, he opines about more than just NASCAR. He likes to write about basketball. He likes to write about schools in our state and other issues outside of sports. And he's also an author of many books. So, in fact, I think he wrote the most definitive history on Clinton high school football. That's out there for those of you who want to read up on that. So, he's a man of many letters and words and numbers, and we thank him very much for his time with us here on Sports Talk. And that qualifying at Phoenix will be coming up just shy of 8 o'clock. It'll be televised on Fox Sports 2. Does anybody get Fox Sports 2?
I do.
Pro gets every channel. There's nothing that Pro does not get.
It's right next to Fox Sports 1.
right, Arkansas has gone on another run. Hit 6 of their last 6 field goals. They're up 37-19. And Bobby Portis is having him a game. 18 points here in the first half, 7 of 10 from the floor. We welcome Lee Klein in a little late to the program, but with us nonetheless, our basketball ambassador, former assistant coach, director of 5-star basketball camps, contributor to Slam magazine. So is Auburn the biggest story this week, the fact that they've gone 3 for 3 here in Nashville, they're in the semifinals, or is there something bigger out there?
It's right up there. I'll tell you what, hats off to Bruce Pearl. Hats off to him and those kids. When you get to this point in the season, it's really interesting to see how's the team going to respond. Are they going to pack it in? Or do you have guys, getting on self mode, worried about what's my living going to be after college? Or are they going to go and one last time kind of group together and try to do something special? And Bruce Pearl's been able to get his kids to do that. And he's playing a little spoiler, making it tough for LSU, and who knows. But hats off. It's as big a story as any. Of course, the bubble bursting for certain teams, and what's going to happen on Sunday in that lump of mediocrity, and who's going to get in of the St. John's, Texas A&M ilk, and who's going to be sent to the NIT.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you about South Carolina, Georgia tonight. The Gamecocks trying to follow Auburn's path and win 3 games in 3 nights. And first of all, did you catch the end last night? And if so, from a coaching standpoint, what did you think of that?
I did not catch the end of the game, and I'm pissed about it. I missed it, but again, Frank Martin, a lot of critics, a lot of heat on him. Good for him. Winning a game in the SEC, another positive step in the right direction. And now, you have house money. You're playing against Georgia. They're in the tournament. It's an opportunity to go out and show that, the programs continue to move forward. So I think it's a good spot for his guys. What happens is one of 2 things. They either get comfortable that they accomplish something by winning a game, so they maybe don't bring that laser-type focus in tonight against Georgia, or they say, we're not done yet. We want to play into this thing, and they got some guys who get hot at the right time and carry them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what about the big teams? Kentucky. I mean, LSU's out of their way now. They'll play Auburn tomorrow. Not that it maybe wouldn't have mattered to them, but, I mean, they were pretty much clicking on all cylinders in the second half today. Duke's fine. But what about North Carolina here in the ACC and beating Louisville, giving Virginia a heck of a fight tonight, leading much of the way in that game? What about this sudden spurt by the Tar Heels, who were kind of left for dead after that loss to Duke to close out the regular season?
They're a perplexing team. Remember, this Carolina team was picked 4th in the preseason in the country. So a lot of pieces came back, and they brought in 3 McDonald's All-Americans. There are high expectations, but they haven't been consistent. They've been they've been kind of a roller coaster the whole season long. But their talent, and those big guys are hard to match up against. Not many teams have those twin towers of Johnson and Meeks, and Marcus Page at times is as lethal guard as there is in the country. Virginia now trying to acclimate Justin Anderson back, get his wind, start playing him again, get his legs under him. That's a process, but it's necessary for them to, down the road, be able to make a run at this thing. I think if Carolina holds on, beats Virginia, Virginia's going to lose that 1 seed, and it's going to slide down to 2, and either Wisconsin or Arizona will end up taking that 1 seed from them. And for Carolina, I think it's an opportunity for them to play from that, 5 level to maybe anywhere from, maybe up to a 3 or at minimum a 4.
Let me ask you this. We've got 2 teams from our state in the tournament, Coastal Carolina, Wofford. They're projecting Coastal right now. I say they. I look at Joe Lunardi's stuff. He's as good as any. A 15 seed in Wofford. as high as a 12 seed. And we're going to hold you over here, Lee, if you don't mind, give you a chance to think about this. But I want to get your thoughts about Wofford in particular. Mike Young, he's a terrific coach. He's got a good, solid mid-major team. And can they be major problems for whoever they meet as a 12 seed? Right now, Lenardi's got him bracketed against Arkansas to open up the tournament. I'm watching Arkansas play at a very high level tonight with Bobby Portis and that crowd, and you know what Arkansas can do to you. But I want to get your thoughts on Wofford and a chance maybe the Terriers to pop an upset in the tournament. Back in a moment. Arkansas continues to hammer away on Tennessee 39-21, and North Carolina continues to lead Virginia, and Kentucky continues to lead USC in baseball 1-0 as they play the bottom of the third. Gamecocks do on third with 2 men out. Quickly, back to Lee Klein. You've had a chance to think about it. So, can Wofford knock off somebody maybe as a 12 seed?
Yeah, I mean, they beat NC State earlier this year. They played good competition. They lost to Duke, obviously. They lost a couple, high major games. You got one freshman in the starting lineup, and then you got, guys that are upperclassmen. You got a coach that knows what it takes to take a team and advance them. So I think it's a dangerous team, Wofford. It's all going to depend on the matchup, though. It's going to depend on the matchup. Surprisingly, the conference, one of the better years as far as rating-wise for the conference, and that's why they're talking as high as a 12 or a 13 seed for them. But they come down to matchup, and, him and Cliff Ellis, what he's done from his career perspective, and now taking Coastal Carolina there after great success at Auburn and Clemson, and just a tremendous coaching career that he's been able to do. So, hats off to those guys, and I think moving forward, it's going to be a wacky tournament. So anything can happen once they tip it off.
We look forward to it next week, and we look forward to having you back with us next Friday. We thank you for your time. Have a great weekend watching all this basketball.
Should be a lot of fun. Have a fantastic weekend.
You too. Lee Klein, our basketball ambassador here on Sports Talk. All right, so we're about to wrap things up. Don't forget post-game coverage of USC Georgia tonight on our website, sportstalksc.com. I will go ahead and say, you know what? I think the Gamecocks get it done tonight, fellas.
No, kiss of death. That's it for the Gamecocks.
Kiss of
I'm
death.
definitely picking Georgia
I
now.
will say this. It's interestingly enough, as you said, South Carolina.
I know basketball. I've been watching this place, this stuff for 3 days. I'm telling you, they got a good game plan.
Well, let's see what their legs are like. But I like you think that if they got
their legs are hairy and muscular.
If they have them under themselves, they may have a chance. I mean, they beat Georgia by 17 in Columbia, had them down by 17 at Georgia before Georgia closed the gap late. So they've got Georgia's number, as I said, but those two physical guards in Notice and Thornwell, if they guard well, they got a chance.
Well, they got to rebound better. Georgia will kill you on the boards. They're strong inside, so South Carolina's got to take the boards better than they did the first 2 games. I like what Thornwell did against the zone, against Ole Miss last night. He drove a couple of times, made a couple of key baskets for them. He's got to do the same thing and be able to make some runners as Marcus Stroman was able to do too. K-Mac, final thoughts from you?
I think the USC basketball run will come to an end tonight, Corn.
See,
that's what I
just
think.
a downer.
Yeah, it's
just
tough
a
to win 3
K-Mac.
games in 3 days and beat a team 3 times in a year. That's my rationale.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the hoops, and we'll see you Monday night here on Sports Talk.